Polymerase chain reaction. Pause your video. When would this be useful? All right, it tells you in the question what it's used for. To make copies of DNA in the lab. When would something like this be useful? So here is an illustration of how PCR works. Okay, you take your original DNA sample, you heat it up, and that's going to separate the double strand, and then you add a primer, and without getting too technical, it's going to connect to other bases, A to T, C to G, and so on. You're going to cool it, they're going to bind, and you just repeat that process. Heat it, bind it, cool it, heat it, bind it, cool it. And that's just going to create a lot of copies of that original DNA. So this is useful when there's very little DNA in the first place. And so that would be like in a forensics scenario, right? Because crime scenes, criminals aren't trying to leave a lot of evidence behind. So you have to make copies of that limited evidence before you test it. Okay, so that's when PCR or polymerase chain reaction would be valuable. Okay, another common, a different question we'll often ask, what's used to mass produce proteins? And enzymes are proteins. All right, so that would be, you want to associate that with gene splicing. Okay, that's inserting a gene from one organism into another organism so that other organism can mass produce that protein that's desired. All right, but in this question, PCR, you want to associate with forensics.